safety, children are not permitted to ride the escalator in strollers. As you step onto the escalator, please hold the handrail at all times and stand in the center of the step.
Million years. Universal Studios has brought the biggest blockbuster of all time thundering to life on the most spectacular water ride ever created. The Jurassic Park River Adventure. You'll wish it was just a movie. Across the street from Jurassic Park on the driver's side is a large beige building. That's our Soundstage 12. Inside of that building we constructed the entire visitor center from the movie Jurassic Park, as well as the entire Whipstaff Manor from the movie Casper. Soundstage 12 is our largest soundstage here at Universal. It's also the third largest soundstage in the entire world. And we do have 35 sound stages here on our lot, and we like to do the majority of our filming inside of these buildings. That's because they are 98% soundproof. This gives us optimum control over sound and lighting. It also makes it easier for us to recreate special effects. Recently, inside of our stage 25 on the driver's side, we were working on a new movie called Primary Colors, which stars actor John Travolta as the President of the United States. And that's going to be released to theaters in just a few weeks here on the 20th of this month. Here in Courthouse Square. And for those movies, we had to decorate this to look like several different time periods. It had to look like 1955, 1985, and the future, 2015.
Military units are rushing to the scene. Peace was last sighted near the 200 block of Old Fulton Avenue. We now go to live coverage on the scene with our helicopter reporter, Kelly King. Kelly.
We're now hovering above the wreckage of a crushed L train. The helicopter beside us is searching for... Wait! There's a tram load of people down there. We've got to go down and warn them. Attention, people on the tram. You are in danger. Repeat, you are in... No, we have to go down and help them.
We'll get you out of here. Just hang on. Oh no, it's King Kong. Wait a minute, he's got a hold of those cables. Oh no, I think the bridge is gonna go. I'm sorry about the inconvenience. I just feel like it's closed off. I just walked the bridge. I don't want you to go on the bridge, Jake. Okay, we're gonna be just fine, folks. There's nothing to worry about. Don't panic. And don't look down. It looks like about a 30-foot drop. Hang on back there. Oh, thank goodness. We made it across the bridge, folks. That's probably because it's not one of the 15 DeLoreans used for the filming of the Back to the Future movies and the famous Jeep number 10 that outran the T-Rex in the movie Jurassic Park. The telephone is from the movie The Incredible Shrinking Woman starring Lily Tomlin, and it looks like we're going to take you into the past next. Welcome to Bedrock. The house on the driver's side is the Rubbles house from the movie The Flintstones, starring John Goodman, Rick Moranis, Elizabeth Perkins, and Rosie O'Donnell.
The Flintstones, they're the modern Stone Age family.
From the past, we're heading deep into the future next. The polar ice caps have melted and the Earth is covered with water. Here are some of the boats from the movie Waterworld, starring Kevin Costner and Dennis Hopper. Today, folks, don't miss our live Sea War Spectacular showing in the upper level of our park. Check your studio guide brochures for showtimes. Now, this tiny little bridge and log cabin are what we call scale models. Both of these were used in the movie Dante's Peak, starring Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. And from the very small to the very tall, this big fella is Paul Bunyan. That's his Blue Ox Babe, and both of these are props from the movie The Great Outdoors, starring Dan Aykroyd and the late, great John Goodman. At one point in time, we even had the pavement in this part of the lot covered over with dirt to make it appear as the Appian Way for the movie Spartacus, starring Kirk Douglas and Lord Laurence Olivier. Because there's a dam at the top of the hill there, and the dam holds back all this water. That's right, we're going to pull out of here, folks. We don't want to have any accidents there with that dam. All right, now we're taking you deeper into old Mexico here. You might recognize this area from the TV series Simon and Simon. This is where the two brothers used to cross into Tijuana. That looks like we're going to cross the border ourselves right now. We're leaving old Mexico in the dust and we're taking you back. Well, that's where we do our above water shooting. Now, below water shooting is a lot more complicated, so we don't do it right there. Instead, we do it across the street on the driver simply seen in episodes of the TV series Sliders, which stars Jerry O'Connell and airs on the Sci-Fi Network. Now, if you were wondering how we got this lake to look like the entire Pacific Ocean, we did it by using very small boats. Some of them are here on the driver's side right now. And in order to cut costs with these boats, we decided to paint one side of them to look like the American Navy, and we painted the other side of the boats to look like the Japanese Navy, so all we had to do was turn the boats around to switch sides. Back over on my side of the tram are some chariots. These are from Paramount and Cecil B. DeMille's film, The 10 Commandments. And speaking of the 10 Commandments, here we are at the Red Sea, inspired by the film. It looks as though Charlton Heston playing Moses got here in front of us and parted the water so that we could get through. You might want to pick up anything on the floor that might get wet and get out your cameras for a great sea level picture. Decorated to look like a lagoon for the TV movies based on the TV series Gilligan's Island. We used a lot of props to decorate that to look like a lagoon, and a prop is anything that's not nailed down to the set. We keep most of our props here on the driver's side in building 487. We have one of the most extensive collections in all of Hollywood. We house close to 100,000 props inside of that building. You'll also want to pay close attention to all of the props and set decorations in here. These are very carefully selected by our art department to authentically duplicate a realistic subway tunnel. We pay very close attention to these details to ensure that this looks as realistic as possible, because we do have to exactly duplicate the time period and location of the film. Now, if you were to walk up the steps here, that's just one of our slight California tremors, folks. Nothing to worry about. Please remain seated and hang on to your belongings. Okay, it's a little bit worse than I thought here. Hang on, everybody. Oh no, what's going on back there? Look out back there on the left. Oh no. Woo-hoo. folks. I think we've seen the worst of it. Hang on. Oh, no. Right up here at Amity. Oh, would you look at that? There's my buddy George out there fishing right now. Hiya, George. How's it going, buddy? Really? That's good, huh? Sorry, folks. George isn't real talkative on his day off. You'll have to excuse him. Well, at any rate, it's a beautiful day out here at Amity. The sun's sparkling off the water out there. Just makes you want to go for a swim, doesn't it? Oh, boy, what is that? Hey, George, you know what? There's a shark out there in the water behind you. I think you better head into the dock and get out of the water right now. George, he's coming right at you there. You got to cut your line and head into the dock right now. George, get out of there. Oh, George, took a lot of guts to fish out there. There they are. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry. We've attached some bait to that yellow buoy out there in the water. We're trying to catch this pesky shark and solve this problem once and for all. Keep your eyes on that buoy. I think today he's going to take the bait. Yeah. He's got it. Oh no, he's got it here too. Hang on. Too enthusiastic about their job. They pulled so hard that they broke 3 of the actress's ribs. Matter of fact, I'm told if you watch her lips very carefully, the next time you see the movie, you'll see that she's not really yelling, "Oh, shark." Now, if you look behind us on the driver's side, you'll see that Amity Island used to double as Cabot Cove, Maine, from the TV series Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury. The Colonial Mansion was used as the sanitarium in the movie Harvey. It was also used in the movie Written on the Wind and in the movie Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now, the very last building at the end of the street is here on my side of the tram, and this was used as Eddie Munster's schoolhouse. It was also used as the community church in Murder, She Wrote. Back on the driver's side is a row of brick buildings we used to simulate a small town. The brick building marked library with steps in front of it used to be Beaver Cleaver's schoolhouse. Gee, Ron, I didn't do it on purpose. Just about all of the houses in this neighborhood were used extensively in the movie The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks. The creepy Klopek family lived here in this yellow house from the fish scale trip. And the house next door is new. It was built as the home of the Cleavers for the new movie Leave It to Beaver. That is currently available for your purchase on home video, folks. And you'll want to look for our entire Colonial Street in an upcoming DreamWorks movie called Deep Impact. They nearly destroyed the street in a meteor shower for the film. Down the street on the driver's side is a greenhouse with white columns in front where Nancy Drew lived, and Lay's character Marion Crane was driving along. She was looking for a place to stay, and she got more than she bargained for when she checked into a motel run by a very odd man by the name of Norman Bates. Up on the hill on the driver's side of the tram is one of the most famous sets in all of Hollywood, the Psycho House. The movie Psycho generated a lot of response from its viewers, to say the least. Alfred Hitchcock got one letter from a man. The movie Psycho was a classic Alfred Hitchcock thriller. But if you're interested in something a little more modern, you'll want to take a peek behind the Psycho House, because that's where we've constructed sets for the newest Steven Spielberg movie based on a best-selling novel by author Michael Crichton. The name of the movie was The Lost World Jurassic Park, and it was just nominated for an Academy Award for Best Special Effects. These are some of the largest sets that we constructed for the film. They were built from the ground up to appear as though they'd been destroyed by a hurricane and abandoned by the company. Some of the most terrifying scenes from The Lost World took place on this very spot, using these sets and many of the props and vehicles you see here now. In front of us on the driver's side is the mobile lab that went careening off the side of a cliff in one of the most spectacular scenes from the movie. If you look closely at that lab, you'll see it's in pretty good shape. We didn't throw it off the side of a cliff after all, but we did have it hanging off the side of a parking structure down in our front lot. We covered over the top of the parking structure with dirt to make it look like the edge of a cliff. Now, speaking of scary movies, here on my side, behind us is the largest freestanding backdrop in all of Hollywood. The area in front of the backdrop is filled up with water, so we can film sequences here that look like they take place out on the open ocean or in a large lake. The TriStar Company was recently here working on scenes from a very scary new movie called Godzilla, which stars Matthew Broderick. That's all right, don't worry. They're probably right up ahead of the crater taking readings. We'll just head up there and see if we can't find them. I'm sure it'll be fine. We've never had a problem with this volcano before. I'm sure we're not going to have one today. Oh boy, they're not here. And there's smoke and lava coming out of the side of the mountain. Folks, I'm sorry, it looks like we're about to have an eruption. We're gonna have to take cover immediately, but don't worry, don't panic. There's an open mine shaft directly in front of us, and you know what your mom always told you, when there's danger, head into the closest open mine shaft. Here we go. Oh no. We've just plunged ourselves directly into the heart of the lava flow. Folks, if this starts to get to you, just close your eyes and hope for the best.